This is the Smart Bird Feeder 10,000 Plus AI bird feeder with camera, and it does say that the AI features needs to be subscribed to, so you probably have to pay extra for the AI features. Now, I was sent this to review for free. If you wanted to buy it, I've seen it listed between $90 and $120, depending on if you get coupons or not. In the box, we have some paperwork. And then we have lots of things in here. And in the very bottom, this guy here. All right, so we have pieces of plastic that go together to make a bird feeder. Looks like a mounting bracket. And this looks like the main body of the bird feeder, plus a box with maybe accessories. So there's the camera in there, and it looks like this camera can tilt up and down just a little bit, so you can aim it a little bit. And then this box has a solar panel for powering this guy outside. Has a USB cable, the antenna, which presumably you have to attach yourself right here, a couple little trays, a strap maybe for mounting around the outside of the tree, some more mounting hardware, Alright, so that's what's in the box. Let me read through these manuals and put it together. Alright, the first step is to put the bird stand on it. They say this part is optional. It's designed to keep seeds from spilling out if it moves around or if birds are pecking. So they say you do not have to install this white bit if you don't want to. And if you do install it, you should pay attention to the flow of bird seed out of this compartment into the bottom there to make sure it's really still flowing and stuff. So the white bit's an optional thing. This little knob will hold the perch and the white thing on. Next up is screwing the antenna onto this back bit here. And although it's possible to screw this on without spinning the antenna, it seems like it's just as fine to do that. You can turn the antenna after you do this. Then we put the roof on. There's two little clips that go on these two pegs, and so these guys snap onto those pegs there. And there's a bit of force involved, it looks like. So I'm going to put it this way. There we go. Okay, so this guy, well, I got one of the pegs on. Let me try getting the other peg on. So, okay, there's both pegs. So both pegs there, it hinges, it snaps down. It's kind of a friction fit, so if you lift up on the side here that says open, you can lift it up and put birdseed in there. The user's manual is pretty nicely put together, easy to understand, has a set of all the parts that are in here, kind of has a label of what everything's called, has some of these steps are already done out of the box, like I didn't have to put this base together, and the camera is already installed in here. Later on it talks about putting a micro SD card into the camera, so it supports up to 128 gigabyte micro SD card there. I did not come with a micro SD card that I found in the packaging here, but you can tilt this camera forward. You just push the base here, and then you can get access to all the reboot button. There's a reset hole. There's the micro SD card slot, and that thing's covered by here. And then on the back here, there's a USB port that I think is connected by a wire already to the camera, and so that's for plugging in the solar panel to the camera. So there's a little wire that connects that up there. There's also a wire that connects the antenna up. So that camera for me came already pre-installed. There's also a page of specifications. It says it's IP65 waterproof, takes 8 to 10 hours to charge on a DC 5 volt 1.5 amp charger. So standby time is a year, battery capacity is 5.2 amp hours. It says not included, it supports up to 128 micro SD card. Video compression is H.264, and it does 15 frames a second at HD, 1920 by 1080p. It also says infrared night vision distance is 22 feet, and it does a 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. Now, to use this guy, you need to download and install the VicoHome app. They have one on the Google Play Store and the Apple Store. So this is VicoHome. It's a security camera app. So basically, this is just a little Wi-Fi security camera built into a bird feeder. And to use this app, you have to sign up for an account. All right, so in the app, the annual fee is $47 per camera per year, or $4, well, that's equivalent to $396, or you can pay monthly at $449 per camera per month. You can try it free for a month, or you can say no thanks. And so with the free setup, you get up to 3 days of history, up to 20 seconds of motion recording, and motion alerts, but you don't have a lot of the other features. So with the premium setup, you get 60 days of storage, up to 3 minutes of recording, and all the premium features. So they do have a free plan that you can use to try it out and decide if you like it or not. Alright, so I had to tilt the camera forward, pull this little rubber off, and there's a button, that's the power button. There we go. Alright, the blue light is flashing. It made a big bing bing noise, so this guy is starting up. Alright, it's made a ding 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 noise. I'm going to hit the add a new device in the app. You have to allow it to do Bluetooth and see nearby devices. It says new device found, so that's good. And it says, okay, here's this device, and it wants to connect the device to my Wi-Fi, and so it's looking for what Wi-Fi networks are around. I just pick a particular Wi-Fi. I have to put in the Wi-Fi password, and it'll connect to the Wi-Fi.
Connection succeeded.
Alright, so it said connection succeeded. It's connecting it to the cloud service. It's initializing the device. And then we just have to set up a name for it. So we'll just call it bird feeder. And you can choose your location. I'll just say garden. Device added successfully. And let's start. And I set it to use the solar panel, and if it runs out of battery, it says, hey, turn on auto ARN if after charging. So if it ever runs down and the solar panel charges it back up, it'll turn back on automatically. So I've enabled that. I need to go install it outside now and buy some birdseed. Alright, first thing it tells me is that I need a firmware update because I just got it out of the box. And you can say, hey, install it later, do the update, or ignore the version. So I'm going to hit the update button. And so it is going to update this firmware, and it has a progress bar graph. During the upgrade, the device may restart several times. Please do not disconnect the power supply or turn off the device. Alright, so we're up to 17%. It's been about a minute here. So you can expect this up, well, it just jumped to 51%. So you can expect this upgrade to take a minute or two, but it seems to be making decent progress. It's also showing me things like, hey, the battery level of the camera is currently 85%. So just out of the box, it came 85% charged. Alright, it's just been about 2.5 minutes. We're at 96%, so it's finishing up the firmware update. Alright, firmware is updated, testing the camera, and we can see live views from what's coming from the camera. Now they have a white light, so you can turn on the light and the camera will have a light. Let me take the plastic film off the front there. There's also an audible alarm. So all right, so it is a security camera in a bird feeder, so you do have the audible alarm and the white light you can turn on and off. You can get sound as well, and sound will come through the microphone there to you. It says press to speak. Hello, testing. Hello, testing, testing, testing. Yeah, does appear to be some sound coming out of there. Sound is coming out of the speaker. All right, so you can use this as a two-way intercom as well. I'm going to mute the sound now. Okay, so it has a perch here, and it comes with these little screws that will screw this guy to the bottom of that perch, but you have to get the screw into the hole. And so it comes with a little Allen wrench, and this guy will fall off it, but if you hold it like this, you can kind of put that guy there, look through the hole, and get a screw up through it. And once you have the screw through the hole, then you can put this guy into this screw hole on the bottom, which isn't super easy to aim, but isn't impossible. And then turn the Allen wrench until it's tightened on there. Alright, so that's how you get this bracket on the bottom, and you can rotate it on the bracket. As a matter of fact, it'll start unscrewing the screw a bit if you rotate it on the bracket. So if you want it pointing in a slightly different direction from, you know, the post or house or tree you have that attached to, you can rotate that, although I think I want it tightened down, so I'm going to try and tighten this so it won't rotate on me. And it's hard to get a lot of leverage with the Allen key this way, but it's not deep enough to go the other way, so you're just going to have to deal with it like this. Now, they provide this tree strap. You can strap it to a tree as long as your tree is smaller than about that. And initially, the tree I was going to hook it to, I think, is a little bigger than that, so I might have to find a smaller tree. Obviously, they provide screws as well, and so you could screw this to something as well. Is put it in this side and then out that side. Yeah, I think I'll do it that way, just because then this strap pulling against the tree might pull this a little harder against the tree. Now there is this hole here, and that hole is probably, I don't know, maybe 1.5 inches deep. And so if you have a pole that's about a 1-inch outside diameter, 25 millimeters, you can put a pole up in there, and they have a screw here that will screw in and clamp to the pole. So if you're worried about squirrels, which I am, you might need to get some type of metal squirrel-proof pole that they can't climb to mount this guy on. But initially I'm going to try it out on a tree. Alright, so this tree is definitely too big around for the strap they provide. Alright, so this tree looks like a reasonable size option. Alright, so it took me a minute or two to install that guy. I had to just figure out that this strap here needs to come in through the strap here needs to come in through the very back and get gripped in there. My tree isn't level, and so my bird feeder's tilting down, which might actually help distribute the food down. Might be an issue. I might have to find a tree that's straighter at some point. But for testing purposes, this will be enough for the first day or two. Alright, so far I don't believe any birds have found the bird feeder. I did have a lizard crawl down around it the first couple days. So it really surprised me, but it took several days for any squirrels to notice this guy. But yesterday a squirrel was on it, climbing around on it, coming out here I find a little bit of squirrel teeth marks right in there as he's trying to get into it. So, you know, it's not squirrel proof. It didn't claim to be squirrel proof. And obviously just, you know, strapped to a tree here, they're going to be able to get to it easily. So I think I need to move this onto a metal pole that will keep squirrels from climbing up to it. All right, so this solar panel mount's really designed to be screwed into wood. It's not designed to be screwed in this back plastic bracket. I made it work. I recommend 1/4-inch screws instead of 3/4 or 1/2-inch screws. It almost looks like it's supposed to be there from far away, but it seems like an oversight. They should have put some screw holes on the back of this thing for the solar panel in case you're not mounting it to a tree or a house this way, but using the pole mount or the bottom mounts here. But I got plugged in, it works. This wire's plugged into that thing there, so hopefully this will be solar powered now. Since I'm putting it on the top of an 8-foot pole, I didn't want to have to go up and charge it. I'm still going to have to go up and fill it up every so often. All right, in the time that I was getting the post to put it on and just playing with it outside on the tree and all that, it's gone down. So it's gone down from about 80% when I got out of the box to 43%, but now it has a little lightning bolt icon because it's charging because of the solar panel. So we'll see if this solar panel is able to keep it up to 100%. And I kind of suspect it is because it only turns on when it detects motion. It just screws to the top of the pole. So my bird feeder's up there pretty well. The pole doesn't seem to wiggle much without wind. I'm pretty sure if it gets windy, this thing's going to wiggle a bit. If I kind of touch it down here, you can see it kind of just moves around like that. But hopefully, that guy will keep the squirrels away from the bird feeder. It's kind of been an overcast, cloudy day, but we're up to 77% charged, up from 43%, just over the course of about 6 hours of daylight. The idea is the squirrel is going to try to like grab the edge and it's going to slide around and they can't get a grip on it. After the tropical cyclone force winds came by, that pole is bent at a, I don't know, 15-degree angle off to the side, but the bird feeder has not fallen over. All right, so the hurricane blew my pole so it was bending backwards, and apparently a lot of water got stuck in the base part here. So the drainage holes are only on the front, and if this thing's tilting backwards, water will pool in the back and not be able to drain out the back. So as soon as I tilted the pole back forward, then it started draining out of the holes and dripping down. Alright, so I noticed when we got heavy winds, this guy acted like a weather vane, and even though this knob was kind of tight on the pole, so it would just spin around the pole like that. Not super quick, but big gusts would eventually push it in one or other direction. Might be because I have this thing at the back. So what I'm going to do is drill a hole in the pole so this little screw will go into the pole to prevent rotation. This guy's also just a teeny tiny bit too big for the top of that pole, so it wiggles back and forth. I think I'm going to wrap the top of the pole with just a little bit of tape to make it a little bit of a tighter fit, so that this guy will fit. And partially that's because the top of that pole has the kind of the threads built into it. So while I had the drill out, I drilled holes in the back here so that if this guy's leaning back a little bit, water can drain out the back as well as out the front, because it's got plenty of these slots to drain out the front, but nothing on the back. Alright, so this birdhouse does a pretty good job. If a bird lands on there, it'll definitely capture it. It does have some false positives. Right now it's kind of pointing at a road, so when cars drive by, even though they're pretty far away, the heat from the motors is enough to trigger the PIR infrared motion detector, and so it gets a lot of false positives. I've even had things like bees flying around in front of it will trigger it, which is, you know, a little more acceptable because at least there's something flying right in front of it. So I'm getting a lot of false positives during the day, but when a bird does land on it, I do get good images of the birds. I had to get the squirrel baffle on my pole to keep squirrels off of it, and I did need to drill some holes in the back for drainage just in case the pole doesn't keep it properly tilted forward so water drains out of the front holes. I put some holes in the back so that it would have a chance to drain out of the rear holes. So far the solar panel has been just powering, it's just always at 100%, so I never have to worry about charging it up again.